For decades, the United States and Canada have shared one of the closest and most integrated military partnerships in the world. This relationship isn't just about politics. It's shaped by a shared continent, shared threats, and a shared responsibility for North American defense from the Cold War creation of NORAD II. Joint missions overseas, our forces have often operated as a single, seamless unit. That's why, for the Pentagon, Canada's choice of a new fighter jet isn't just another military purchase. It's a strategic signal. And lately, that signal has been causing serious anger in Washington. The story begins with Canada's aging fighter fleet. The Royal Canadian Air Force has been flying the CF-18 Hornets since the early 1980s. These jets were workhorses, but they were never meant to fly this long. Despite numerous upgrades, their frames are getting old. Maintenance costs are soaring, and their ability to survive in a modern, high-threat battlefield is a growing concern. Every serious defense expert agrees, replacing them isn't optional, it's urgent. But the process has been stuck in a cycle of political debates, cost worries, and public pushback for years. From Washington's point of view, the answer was always obvious. As a core partner in NORAD and NATO, Canada was expected to buy the F-35 Lightning II. To the U.S. military, the F-35 is more than just a jet, it's the cornerstone of future Western air power. It's designed to be a flying command center, a networked sensor that gathers, processes, and shares data across every domain of warfare: air, land to sea, and even cyberspace. So, when Canada began to seriously look at other options, like the Swedish Gripen, concern in the Pentagon quickly turned to frustration and then to outright anger. This wasn't just about losing a big sale. It was about losing what they call strategic conformity. The U.S. has spent decades building an ecosystem where allies fly the same planes, use the same software, and follow the same battle plans. From the Pentagon's perspective, any ally that steps outside this system weakens the whole structure. One of the biggest worries is interoperability, especially within NORAD. Canadian fighters are on the front line, responsible for intercepting unknown aircraft heading for North American airspace. They fly side by side with American jets, tankers, and spy planes every single day. When everyone flies the same platform, everything is simpler. Pilots train together easily. Mechanics know the same systems. Commanders can plan missions without worrying if different technologies will talk to each other. Choosing a different jet, even a NATO-compatible one like the Gripen, introduces friction. It means separate supply chains, different training, and complex integration work. In a crisis, that friction costs time, and time can cost lives. Then there's the message it sends to other allies. The U.S. has marketed the F-35 as the standard fighter for all Western democracies. Countries like the UK, Australia, Japan, and most of NATO have bought in. When a country as close as Canada hesitates, it creates doubt. Pentagon officials worry about a domino effect. If Canada can say no to the F-35, why can't other countries? Economics also fuels the Pentagon's anger. The F-35 program is a massive industrial machine. Thousands of companies across the U.S. and allied nations build parts for it. Canadian industry has already won billions of dollars in contracts from this supply chain. A full commitment to the F-35 would lock in decades of that shared industrial work. Walking away threatens those jobs and economic benefits, raising political headaches in Washington. And let's be honest, there's a long simmering resentment in Washington over Canada's defense spending. U.S. officials have often complained, sometimes publicly, that Canada benefits from the American security umbrella without paying its fair share. Canada has consistently fallen short of NATO's goal of spending 2% of its GDP on defense. So, when Canada considers a cheaper alternative to the F-35, it looks like a confirmation of that old stereotype that Canada wants top-tier security but at a bargain price. The Pentagon is also looking at the future of war. The F-35 is built for a fight against major powers like China or Russia. Its design emphasizes stealth, advanced electronic warfare, and deep integration with U.S. forces. Planners worry that if Canada chooses a different jet, The Royal Canadian Air Force could slowly fall out of sync with America's evolving military strategy over time. They might not be able to operate in the most dangerous environments alongside their primary ally. Control and sovereignty are another point of tension. The U.S. government tightly controls the F-35's software, upgrades, and mission data. For Washington, this is about security and standardization. But for some in Canada, that level of dependence is a problem. The Gripen, on the other hand, is marketed as a more sovereign option, giving countries more control over their own aircraft. This appeals to Canadian desires for independence, but it alarms Pentagon officials who see it as a loss of centralized control within the alliance. Geopolitics makes it all even more intense. In an era of rising global tension, the U.S. wants to project an image of a strong, unified alliance. Any public disagreement is seen as a sign of weakness that adversaries could exploit. Canada's long, drawn-out debate and the public criticism of the F-35 are watched closely in Moscow and Beijing. Of course, from a Canadian perspective, this debate is perfectly rational. The Gripen is said to have lower operating costs, performs well in cold weather, and can operate from short, makeshift runways, all things that are important for a country with Canada's vast and harsh geography. Why? The promise of technology transfer and building planes in Canada is also very appealing. But in the Pentagon, these arguments often fall on deaf ears. For them, alignment with U.S. systems is the number one priority. This difference in perspective, Canada thinking about its national needs versus the Pentagon thinking about alliance discipline, is the root of the frustration. There's also an emotional element. For generations, Canada has flown American-made fighters. There was an unspoken expectation in Washington that this tradition would continue. To see Canada break from that pattern feels like a rejection of trust, a slight against a long and storied history. In the end, the Pentagon's fury isn't just about one airplane. It's about power, influence, and the future of Western military cooperation. Canada's fighter jet saga has become a symbol of a larger tension between national sovereignty and the demands of a modern military alliance. As Canada finally moved toward purchasing the F-35 after all this time, the years of indecision left a lasting scar on the relationship. The episode exposed deep cracks in the foundation of the U.S.-Canada partnership, revealing that even the closest of friends can clash when national interests and strategic visions don't perfectly align. Thanks for watching. If you found this breakdown interesting, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more deep dives into defense and geopolitics. See you next time.